Hello everybody, you're on the hunt with Papa John. This one's a crazy one. This is one of the most wanted fugitives. Yeah, we're starting out with Timothy Thomas Combs, born in Ocean County, New Jersey on February 21, 1959. 5'7" tall, blue eyes, at about 140 pounds. The names he went by, he uses a bunch of names, man. Names he went by was Tim Combs, Timothy T. Combs, Cal Liberty, William Patterson, James Wilson, and James Mason. He's got some aliases there going on. But this story, it's coming out of Missouri. Yeah. All right. I don't even know where should I start? Alright, on September 16th, 1994, Timothy Combs allegedly shot Missouri Highway Patrolman Bob Harper in his Anderson, Missouri home. According to police, Combs was a member of a religious group known as the Freemen. The Freemen exist on the farthest right fringe of the political spectrum. While they believe they are the true Americans, police call them domestic terrorists. Author Kenneth Stern describes the Freemen's beliefs. The Freemen believe that the Constitution is a divinely inspired document, along with the Bill of Rights, that gives them preeminent rights in American society, that they do not have to do things like pay income taxes or have driver's licenses and so forth. Because that's all part of the laws that were passed after the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, they see this as a man-made laws that do not apply to them. In the case of Robert Joes, a self-styled Freeman minister, that philosophy apparently led him to issue fake legal documents. Jose was convicted of drafting a fake court order for a parishioner who had been arrested on a minor traffic offense. When Sergeant Steve Dorsey and Corporal Bob Harper made the arrest, Jose resisted and had to be forcibly taken. Robert Joes, I don't know, I'm not spelling it right, it's Joos, but Joes, but he was arrested on charges of carrying a concealed weapon and resisting arrest. Then 3 months later, one of the arresting officers, Corporal Bob Harper, became the target of a sniper. Bob's wife, Kay Harper, was at home the day of the shooting. Whoops. She said, "I heard this loud shot and I ran up the hall and Bob was laying next to the cabinet and he was trying to tell me that the can had exploded." And she explained to him that he had been shot. It was a miracle that Bob Harper survived. The bullet missed his heart by just 1/16 of an inch. The next day, investigators recovered a vital piece of evidence, a shell from the gun used to shoot Bob Harper. Sergeant Parks explains how Jouse was targeted for the crime. Alright, and then another spot where I been reading on all of this. I've been holding off because in doing my research, I ended up finding an address in Cordova, California that was linked to Timothy Combs. Now, whether it's recent or in the past, I don't know. I know the last known physical address that the police records show was in Arkansas. So I contacted the Cordova, California police, sent them the information, and they emailed me back and said thank you, and they're looking into it. So hopefully they find him. Hopefully he can be brought to justice. Timothy Combs is a member of the Freeman Movement, a loosely knit brotherhood of domestic terrorists held together by a pathological mistrust of the United States government. Most Freemen do not acknowledge the U.S. legal system's authority and see common law courts as a way of the government and believe that most laws don't apply to them. Robert Jost is a self-styled minister and leading advocate of the Freeman Movement. In 1985, he was convicted of drafting up a bogus court order in the case of one of his parishioners who was arrested in minor traffic offense. For 9 years, Jost hid out on his farm as he contested the conviction. But in June of 1994, the new prosecuting attorney ordered Highway Patrol to arrest Jost. Because Jost had a history of resisting arrest, they decided to avoid a armed confrontation on his property. They decided to wait until Jost was alone on a country road to make an arrest, which Sergeant Steve Dorsey and Corporal Bob Harper did after confronting him and taking him to the McDonald County Jail. As he awaited trial, another follower decided to take action on the Highway Patrol. On September 16, 1994, Corporal Bob Harper was celebrating his 33rd wedding anniversary, and his daughter was 12 years old, standing in the kitchen with him, when a shot exploded through the kitchen window, striking Bob in the chest. The bullet pierced Harper's rib cage, missing his heart by just 1/16 of an inch, but amazingly survived. The next day, investigators found a shell casing from a semi-automatic rifle in the area of trees 245 feet from Bob's kitchen window. Authorities believed that Bob's shooting was directly related to Robert Jost's arrest. When some officers went to Jost's farm to speak with his girlfriend, they were met by an armed man who identified himself as James Wilson. As they approached him, he shouted religious chants. They spoke to him for about 30 minutes. The next day, authorities identified Wilson as Timothy Thomas Combs, who had a violent background and spent several years in jail on various weapon charges. By the time authorities searched Jost's farm, Combs vanished. However, investigators discovered a large arsenal which included pistols, rifles, and more than 40 sticks of dynamite. That same day in Arkansas, Combs' neighbor gave investigators a bullet that had struck one of his horses, probably by Combs, while he was doing target practice. Investigators also found shell casings that matched the casings found outside of Bob Harper's window. Authorities believe that Combs and Jost worked together in the shooting of Bob Harper, especially because of the gun that Jost had purchased 3 weeks before the shooting, which matched the one used by Combs. However, Jost maintains that he was not responsible, and to this day only Timothy Combs has been charged in the case. Sadly, Bob Harper later died during heart surgery. I think it was a couple years. I read somewhere that it was about 2 years late after this that Mr. Harper passed away during surgery of a pre-existing heart condition. Combs did not cause his death and is only wanted for attempted murder. Authorities believe he has gone underground and is being hidden by other members of the militia. The supporters of Combs believe he is being unjustly persecuted by the government, disavowing all of his criminal and terrorist activities. There is no known validity of these claims. In July of 1996, the bodies of William and Nancy Mueller and their daughter Sarah were found in a swamp. It was discovered that the three had rented a house from their business associate, Combs. It was initially suspected that he may have been involved. However, their murders were later connected to Chevy Kehoe, an associate of Combs. Kehoe was later convicted of the murders and sentenced to 3 life sentences. Combs is not believed to have been involved in the murders. Kehoe's crimes was documented on the FBI files, American Justice, and Swamp Murders. A $100,000 reward is being offered for the information in this case. In 1997, Jose was convicted of unlawful use of a weapon after spending time in prison. He was released, however, he was later arrested for his involvement in a hate crime bombing in 2010. He was convicted and sentenced to 6 years in prison. Combs remains at large. Investigators believe that friends and relatives are hiding or aiding him. So Timothy's not wanted for murder, he's just wanted for attempted murder. But man, it's been 30 years now since that he's been hiding? I don't know. But Combs, 65 years old, was a follower of the Sacerdotal Order of David Company. I'm apologizing, I'm still struggling with some of these words. But of which Jose, a white supremacist, was pastor. Combs, also known as James Wilson and Cal Liberty, is accused of shooting and wounding Missouri State Patrol trooper in September. Alright, I don't need Missouri State Highway Patrol is following all leads worldwide. Sergeant Curtis Worth tells Hate Watch, but he adds there haven't been many leads and none has been sustained. Here's the background of Jose was arrested on the same day as Dennis and Daniel Mahone, who were accused of sending a package bomb in 2004 to the diversity office in Scottsdale, Arizona. Diversity Director Don Logan was the most seriously injured in the explosion, requiring extensive surgery on his hand and arms. Dennis Mahone is a former Klansman and skinhead recruiter, as well as a longtime member of Tom Metzger's White Resistance, authorities say. His twin brother Daniel was also involved in the Klan and in wars. Metzinger's Indiana home the same day the Mahones and Joust were arrested, taking some items but not charging Metzinger with any crimes. Joust was the first person Dennis Mahone called the day the package bomb was delivered. According to the indictment charging Mahone's undercover operatives were quoted in the indictment, aligning that Joust is a longtime white supremacist associate and expert in weapons, explosives, and bomb making, who taught an informant how to make napalm. Joust was charged with being a felon in possession of firearms when he was arrested. So I'm trying to put this together, but they're still hunting for Timothy Coobs. If you can share this, I wish I could have found some age-progressed photos of him, but I couldn't find none of those. But thank you for listening. Have a great day.